Presenting the International 9600, the most fuel-efficient cabover in the world, and the International 9700, the only true setback axle cabover in the industry. First, let's consider the inherent advantages that cabovers have over conventionals. These advantages include aerodynamics. Despite public perception, cabovers are more aerodynamic than conventional trucks. Serviceability. Cabovers are less costly to service than conventionals. Visibility is obviously much better on a cabover. Overall length. Compared to conventionals, cabovers are better able to handle maximum length limitations or maximum cube. To help substantiate these advantages, let's quickly review the 9600 design. We start with a lightweight all-aluminum cab with an aerodynamic design that's second to none. Wind tunnel tests repeatedly prove the 9600 has the lowest wind resistance of any over-the-highway cabover tractor. The 9600's 12.5-inch corner radius and wraparound windshield dramatically reduce aerodynamic drag. The windshield is angled at 15 degrees for the optimum combination of aerodynamics and interior space. The 9600's roof and side fairings were specially designed for this cab during wind tunnel testing. And we were the first to offer side fairings on a cabover truck. In addition to being aerodynamically superior to competing models, the 9600 cab also weighs less. A high-strength aluminum skin is the load-carrying part of the structure. This allows us to rivet the skin to very lightweight inner cab structures. The engine tunnel is aluminum also. The entire design provides greater strength and weight savings than any competing cab. When you make a truck more aerodynamic than its competitors and also make it lighter, you can't avoid getting more miles out of a gallon of fuel and more payload than they do. In fuel economy, the 9600 is unsurpassed by any other cabover with the same drivetrain. The 9600 is also known for a ride that's better than other cabovers. Several features contribute to the 9600's smooth ride. A 4-point cab mounting system and one-piece, high-strength, heat-treated frame rails with drop center section. The drop belly design puts extra strength where you need it to reduce frame beaming and cab pitch. The oil fill and check are a couple of serviceability features where the 9600 is clearly superior. The 9600's oil check and oil fill tubes are on the right side of the cab, the curb side. They are mounted low enough so you can reach them from the ground. This is an important convenience for a routine service item. The 9600's oil-filled tube telescopes out past the cab skin. This keeps impurities out of the tube and the oil. The oil fill has a thermos-type cap for positive sealing. The 9600's brake lines are yet another outstanding serviceability feature of this premium cabover. We use color-coded nylon tubing for all chassis and in-cab brake lines. There are at least a dozen more customer benefit stories about the 9600. But now, let's turn to the new 9700, which has all the 9600 features plus more. What we've done in the 9700 is take several features the next step forward, a step beyond the standard of excellence set by the 9600. During advanced aerodynamic testing on a model of our cabover, we discovered that a cabover with a setback axle could achieve considerable fuel economy savings over the already fuel-efficient set forward. We were so impressed with its aerodynamic and LCO potential that we continued refining it. While fuel economy was the big carrot that kept us working with the setback axle design, we soon found that it allowed other impressive improvements as well, including dramatically improved ride, greater maneuverability, and the best entry and egress situation we'd ever seen on a cabover. The total effect of the changes we ultimately made is a dramatically different cabover vehicle, a truck so different it demanded a new name. the beginning of a new generation of cabovers, an entirely new shape for the future, the International 9700. Now let me tell you specifically what we've done in terms of aerodynamics, what it means for you in fuel economy, and finally, what this new truck means for you. First, we set the front axle back an additional 25.5 inches. This gives the 9700 a bumper-to-axle dimension of 53.5 inches versus 28 inches on a 9600. We also made many dramatic aerodynamic and styling changes to the front, bottom, and sides of the truck. We replaced the old bumper with a new aerodynamic bumper. We extended the cab skirting clear back to the setback axle, skirted the fuel tanks, and most importantly, developed a new cab extender to control the gap between cab and trailer. To help you appreciate the importance of these changes, let's look at what happens at the front of a typical cabover in operation. As air contacts the lower front of the cab, it wraps around the bumper and gets sucked into the wheel well, increasing air turbulence and drag. There, the spinning tires pull and swirl the air, creating increased drag. Similarly, air which goes under the front bumper doesn't pass directly through. It gets caught up in all of the protruding components. Here again, this creates great turbulence and aerodynamic drag. To address the problem airflow around the side of the cab, we extended the cab radius all the way down to the bumper, sealing the gap between bumper and cab. With the new design, air simply flows around the corner and skips across the wheel well for maximum aerodynamic effect. And these are not the only aerodynamic improvements we've made on the 9700. We've incorporated a roof fairing similar to the 9600s, but extended it to control the gap between the tractor and trailer. We changed our turn signals so they no longer protrude from the vehicle. We mounted them lower on the cab in flush contour panels. We mounted side turn marker lights on the rear cab extenders. Additionally, we reduced the size of our marker lights and moved the air horn back behind the roof fairing to reduce drag. Finally, we eliminated the optional exterior sunshade from over the windshield as a white page spec or standard because it disrupts the airflow around the cab and diminishes fuel savings. The combined effect of these aerodynamic improvements is impressive. The 9700 has about 30% lower aerodynamic drag than a typical cabover without aerodynamic effects. What's more, the 9700 has 13.7% less drag than a 9600 with full aero package. This translates into 5% better fuel economy for the 9700. If we assume base fuel consumption of 6 miles per gallon and a fuel cost of $1 per gallon, 5% greater efficiency saves $1,000 over 120,000 miles, about an average year of driving. And remember, this $1,000 annual fuel cost saving is over and above the aero-equipped 9600, which outside of the 9700 is the most aerodynamic fuel-efficient cabover in the world. This makes the International 9700 the most aerodynamic fuel-efficient Class 8 tractor in the marketplace. How will you know if the 9700 is the right truck for you? You will if you're looking for these top priorities: fuel economy, ride, maneuverability, entry egress, and residual value. Let's take a closer look at the 9700 and talk about its advantages in the 5 areas just mentioned, starting with fuel economy. To achieve the maximum allowable fuel economy, you must minimize your trailer gap, the distance from the back of the cab extender to the front of the trailer. A smaller gap reduces aerodynamic drag and thus raises fuel efficiency. Before we talk about how to control the trailer gap on the 9700, I should point out that on the 9700 with 89-inch BBC or 110-inch BBC, we're dealing with the same 126-inch BBC dimension from the front of the bumper to the back of the fairing package. To accomplish this on the 89-inch BBC, we increased the length of our side fairings by 21 inches, from 16 inches to 37 inches. And on the 110-inch cab, we have a 16-inch fairing. We designed these fairings to minimize tractor-trailer gap, which must be used with properly spec'd wheelbases to maximize fuel economy. It is important to understand the effect of a setback axle placement on the 9700 as it relates to trailer gap and resultant fuel economy. On an 89-inch or 110-inch BBC cab with the front axle set back 25.5 inches, you should shorten your wheelbase as a function of required fuel capacity, axle loads, and aerodynamic gap. We recognize that your ability to shorten the wheelbase is limited by your criteria for fuel capacity. The following fuel capacity wheelbase combinations result in the shortest gap and therefore the greatest fuel economy. 200 gallon equals 138-inch wheelbase. 230 gallon equals 144-inch wheelbase. 300 gallon equals 161-inch wheelbase. Please note that you can get any fuel capacity you need in the 9700. However, also note you pay a price in terms of fuel economy for running a longer wheelbase needed to carry this capacity. For example, your payback period for the additional $2,500 that you've paid for a 9700 is just 25 months, assuming the full 5.9% improvement in fuel economy that's possible with 200-gallon capacity and a 138-inch wheelbase. On the other hand, if you improve your fuel efficiency by only 3.7%, because you have to run a 161-inch wheelbase in order to carry 300 gallons of fuel, you increase your payback to 40 months. Both examples assume 120,000 miles per year, 6 miles per gallon base fuel consumption, and fuel at $1 per gallon. Another important element with the setback and placement is weight transfer. The front axle position of the 9700 allows for a 1,500-pound tare weight transfer, as well as a higher percent trailer load transfer to the front axle. These factors allow you to optimize your loads with the 9700. Another important element of the 9700 story is its ride. Increased front axle loading and shorter wheelbases reduce fifth wheel offsets in the 9700. This chart shows the percent by which ride improves as you reduce your fifth wheel offset. The 9700's long 58-inch taper leaf front springs also contribute to making an already superior ride even better. We also capitalized on the 9700's new design to increase its wheel turning angle from 35 to 43 degrees. This shortens its turning radius considerably. Using a typical 161-inch wheelbase 9600 for comparison, the 9700's increased turning angle alone reduces wall-to-wall turning radius from 30 feet 1 inch to 28 feet 1 inch. Also note the 9700's turning radius at the 138-inch wheelbase. As you can see, additional significant gains in maneuverability are possible when we reduce the wheelbase as well. Another area where the 9700 is clearly superior to other cabovers is in entry and egress. With a traditional cabover, you have to climb over the top of the tire. Except for the grab handles, it's a lot like trying to scale the face of a cliff. The 9700 changes all that. We put the 9700's bottom step much closer to the ground, 6 inches lower than the normal cabover entry step. It's right in the wraparound bumper. Then we moved our skirt step directly above it. The result is a ladder-type step, much like the entry step of a conventional truck. We also increased our door opening from 70 to 95 degrees and added 2 interior grab handles. The door opens wider, and when it's open, you still have handles to grasp, making this truck extremely easy to get in and out of. Residual value is another benefit of the 9700. The 9700 has no direct competitors, and more importantly, no equals. There isn't a cabover on the road that looks like it. There isn't another highway tractor that rides like it. And there isn't a Class 8 tractor in the industry that's as aerodynamically fuel efficient. All of this means that when they do finally hit the used truck lot, 9700s will demand top dollar because there will be nothing else like them on the lot. Let's quickly review some of the other features of the 9700 in 4 areas: interior trim, electrical, steering, and brakes. Starting with interiors, you probably recall that we recently introduced new interior trim packages. We offer the same trim packages on both the 9600 and 9700. We have 3 packages: Economy, Premium, and Eagle. Please take note that Eagle is no longer a model. Instead, it is an optional interior, as in the current 9300. You can buy specific elements of the old Eagle model that you want without buying the whole package. With the Eagle package, we offer a choice of Cordovan and Midnight Gray. We have also added an optional package with gray leather on the seats and steering wheel when Eagle is selected. The Eagle interior includes vinyl door panels with new patterns available, a molded headliner, and cloth panels in the sleeper. Now for the electrical system. We've incorporated all the improvements recently made in the 9600 series. These changes include: the trailer relay is now standard, feed studs have been eliminated, wiring has been upgraded with Deutsch connectors, and the switch cluster has been redesigned. In the steering areas, the M100 Shepherd steering gear will be standard in the 9700. Its features will improve handling and road feel over the M392, and it's 15 pounds lighter. The Ross gear is an option with the 12,000-pound axle. And finally, Rockwell Foundation brakes are standard on the 9700 as well as the 9600. These are just a few of the many outstanding features offered by the International 9600 and the new 9700 cabover with setback axle. Whether you choose the 9600 or the new 9700, they both set the world's current standards for excellence in fuel economy, aerodynamics, ride, and serviceability. The greatest 1-2 punch in the trucking industry.